so happy that you're here. I was telling Deanna that when you meet cool people and that you want to share their coolness with your audience, and I know she's only got like a short amount of time, but I am so happy that she's here.
Well,
So
I'm happy to be here, and I really appreciate you inviting me. And I know we know each other from virtual events, and so I think it's fun to talk to people that are in that world, because I spent 30 years in person events, and when COVID happened, I didn't know anything about virtual. I had never even been in Zoom. So
wow.
it was a huge learning experience for me to get involved in the virtual space. And I did 2 summits and a 3-day event in 2021. And then we did our book launch, which we can talk about back in February. And so we have some more planned for this year. And it's so much more fun, in my opinion, because I don't have to go get on a plane. I don't have to be away from my family as much, because I used to travel all the time. So I'm excited about virtual.
That's great. I mean, earlier you had mentioned that you're going to be on another interview after this, so that's great. I mean, imagine your schedule and you're just at home.
Yeah, it's true. It's true. I would never be able to do both of these today if it was in person. So
Yeah. So I do like the convenience of that. Uh,
mhm,
maybe being at home, getting up and walking around and coming back, and then you're back at work.
mhm. It's true. It's true. You could take a break and have lunch with your family, or whatever that might be. Go on a walk with the scooter. Oh,
Yes. My son loves that scooter. He got it for Christmas, and he hasn't let it go ever since. I want to give a quick shout out to Patrick Jackman of the Jackman Group, who
yeah.
has a Thursday show at 7:30, the 30, where he introduced me and Deanna. So thanks, Patrick.
Yay. Patrick's awesome.
He is, he is. So you mentioned that you haven't been on Zoom before the pandemic. So what was your first Zoom meeting like?
Well, I think my first experience was the virtual event on virtual events,
Oh, okay.
because I think when they promoted that event, they advertised it to meeting planners, which is how I saw it. And I had no idea what that was about. And I was like, $97 for 3 days, like that seems very reasonable. And I should see what this is about. And maybe it could help me save my business. Which in the end it didn't, because what I did was like not didn't relate, it didn't convert to virtual. It was really more of team building, and I owned a DMC, for those of you who know what that is. So we did logistics all over the state of Colorado, and so it didn't, the people who were doing those type of events would not do them virtual. It's just not, it doesn't accomplish the goal they had. And so I went there thinking that, and then I left that 3-day event thinking of all of the possibilities that could happen in what I was trying to start, which was a nonprofit for suicide prevention. And that's how all of this kind of started.
Okay. So
Mhm.
are you still hosting events now?
Well, so we created a program called Scars to Stars. And that was, at first, we did a summit with 15 speakers. And then I did a 3-day event. And then I did another summit with 15 speakers. And then we released a book in February, and it's a book called Scars to Stars. And it is, I usually have it behind me, but I don't today. Um, and it is 20 different people telling stories of overcoming adversity, um, to help people understand that whatever they're going through, someone else has been there and they are not alone, and there is a way out. And so that is all now, that whole program now is under our nonprofit, and all the books sales um, go to the foundation to raise money for our programs, and most of our programs that we're working on will be virtual. We have some courses we're working on that will be out this year. One will be free, the other two will not. And then we're going to do a challenge and a fundraising event in October, which I'm super excited about. And we have another book. Our second book is coming out in September. And then we're going to have a third one that is a special edition with one of our veteran organizations. And that one will be coming out in November.
Okay.
Yeah.
I don't have that book to show, but if you have it, feel free to share your screen and share with us that book also.
We don't have those yet. The other two are coming out later, but they will look similar to the one that you showed. It'll be the same kind of cover and name, and we'll just have different volumes of it. So and what you showed was our website, and that button at the top that says watch launch event. You can actually click on that and watch about a 75-minute video of our book launch event, where you can see all of the authors speak, and it's really kind of cool.
Okay.
That was our book launch virtual event.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
That's nice. So I would like to know how did you get the idea of the book launch and the virtual event at the same time? Is this the one with the 15 speakers?
Well, the 15 speakers, there were two different events, and that was in March and August of 2021. We did those. And we do have those recordings, and we were going to make them available, but we're not quite there yet. It's coming. And some of the people who spoke on the summits were also in the book. So if you're reading a book and you're like, oh, I can go here and see this summit, and I could see these certain people talk live, some people want to do that. And so we are going to make that available soon. And also, the book launch was just a way for us to get more people to see the book. And obviously we had 20 authors. We're not all in the same place. We're not even all in the same country. So it made sense to do it virtually. And that way everybody could see what the book was about. And we had people who bought the book for other people, like to give away. We had people who bought books to donate to libraries and jails and homeless shelters. And so it has become a movement, and we're hoping that it gets more and more and more traction, because we know that personal story and conversations and community that we're building will save people's lives. And the where this is all coming from, I should probably explain really quick, is that in 1997, I survived a suicide attempt, and I never spoke about it. And in 2018, I lost a friend to suicide that I'd known for over 20 years. And I felt God just kind of knocking me over the head with a ton of bricks, saying, you need to talk about this for yourself, and you need to use your story to help others. And so that's how this all started. And so I know from my own experience that I never knew there was a hotline back then. I knew that you could go to therapy, but I didn't really want to. I'm kind of hard-headed in a lot of ways.
We might be related.
But I never saw organizations or resources, like none of that was really available back then. I didn't even have a Facebook page, we didn't have Facebook back then and stuff like that. And so I think we need all of the resources we have. We need the hotline, we need therapy, we need, these organizations that are doing great work, but it's not changing. It's not fixing the problem. The rates have been growing for decades. And in my opinion, because of my experience, if people can talk about it and feel safe to talk about it, it's just like everyone talks about the stigma around mental health, and nobody wants to start the conversation. They don't know what to say. And so our whole mission is to get people to talk about it. tell them how to talk about it. How do you start the conversation? How do you support your loved one that's going through severe depression or anxiety or suicidal ideation? How do you speak up and ask for help if you're in that place, and not feel like you're going to ask somebody who shuts down because they don't know what to say, and then you think that I shouldn't have said anything now because they don't even want to talk to me about it. So there's this disconnect about how to start the conversation and what to say and what not to say. And that's what we're trying to educate people on. And we are going to have a free course on our website very soon that is going to talk about just that. But we do have a lot of videos on our YouTube channel that talk about that as well. But in my opinion, it's the conversations and building these communities around people that are having the conversation, and the personal stories that help people know they're not alone, that they can read in the quiet of their own home and get the courage to reach out to that person or someone else to say, hey, I'm going through this and I really need help. And, for the people who don't know what to say, you really just that person just needs to know that you're there for them. It can be silence. You can watch a movie. You can go on a hike. You can do anything with them. Just be with them and be open to listening and be supportive. You don't have to have the right words. You don't have to be able to tell them how to fix it, because that's actually what you don't want to do. When people say, oh, you have so much to live for, you should be so happy. That is not the right thing to say, because they're in a place where they feel like they don't matter. They're not worthy. And so just you being there and supporting them and being their friend and listening makes a huge difference.
I like that you found convenience, and you found a way to share that convenience with a lot of other people. It's like having your in-person events and going to online, and then just talking to someone, just walking with someone, just sitting there with them. It's like, these are little things, and I feel that they're really convenient because you don't have to do much, but it means so much to other people. And how you have the ability to come here, to sit in front of your screen, to talk to me now. You have courses available, you have videos available. And I was like, all of these things are very convenient. So I like that you, you find the convenience in things and make it available for people. So for me, that's amazing. And that's one of the things that I found from you, that is the coolness of you for me.
Well, thank you. But I also think, especially when we put the book out, we have a chat feature on our website that we don't have monitored yet, but it tells me when somebody visits the website. It doesn't tell me their name. It just says someone visited from this city or this country or whatever. And so we were having a lot of people that were visiting our site during the night. And it made me think, like, these people are struggling and they're coming here for help and for information. And so that's kind of what started, that we need to build these courses. We need to build, one will be around telling your story in a book. One will be around starting the first steps of healing. And then the free one will be kind of what I was just talking about, like just the first, how to start the conversation. How do we talk about this?
Yeah. In 2014, I was pregnant and I had just lost my job. And before I had lost my job, my supervisor had told me that you're going to have to be out for 6 weeks and we can replace you because it only takes 4 weeks to train. He's like, but don't worry, we're not going to tell anybody that we're letting you go because you're pregnant, because that's illegal. We're just going to call it something else. He's like, don't worry, everyone makes mistakes, and we're going to wait for you to make a mistake and then we'll let you go. So he told me his plan, and I laughed. He laughed. I thought he was joking. But what hurt me is that I didn't do anything because I thought it was a joke. So yeah, but I feel better because they let him go a week after they let me go.
Wow.
So I know it doesn't make it any better, but it does make me feel a little better. But it's things like that. What I didn't know, I did not know what depression was. And I tell my husband that there is something on me. It is very heavy. it is steamy and it feels like it's wrapped in barbed wire. I'm like, what is this and how do I get it off? He's like, that's depression. I was like, well, how do I get it off? He's like, go ask your phone. So I'm asking my phone, how do I get depression off of me? And it says, drink water and exercise. So I got this giant glass of water and I started going on walks for yeah, I still do. Well, now it's a scooter ride, but I still go for walks. And yes, that helped. It took about maybe a week or two, but the exercise and the water, real sunlight, it helped to not just sit there and be mad about somebody else's decision or me belief in that one person. It's like 8 billion people on the planet. There's plenty of people to believe in, don't just count on the one. So
Yeah.
it's stuff like that. Um, I didn't know that you weren't supposed to tell people the answer. I love when people tell me the answers. It's like when I sit through webinars and they want to go through this long story. I don't want to hear that. I just want the answers.
Yes, I hear you. I'm really hard at telling long stories or writing long posts and stuff because I'm the same way. I want the answers. So I think that's what other people want. And then when you do it short, they're like asking all these questions. And I was like, I should have put all that in there.
That's true. I have found that out. A lot of people do like the stories. I haven't met too many people like me. And another reason why I think you're cool because I think you're kind of like me. I tell you, we might be related. You said you're hard-headed, and I was like, I am too.
Yes, definitely. That's funny. I think when you were describing what depression feels like, I think it's important for us to use words that describe it for us because everybody can feel different when they're going through depression. And I think it's really important for them to describe like what does it mean to you? And I think you did a really good job of explaining that.
Well, thanks. I had no idea what it was. I felt like something else was trying to take control of my vessel, and I don't like to share. So if something else is trying to tell me what to do, I don't want to hear that. Something else is trying to make me do something, I don't want to do it. Like I am hard-headed. So when I felt like it was trying to take over, and I'm like, no, I can't do that. I can't.
Mhm.
Whatever it was, I knew it wasn't me. So
Mhm.
I had to get rid of it.
Well, I'm glad that you had that awareness and that your husband was able to give you an answer, because that's not always the case. A lot
Oh,
of times people struggle for a long time and don't even understand. Like I know now that I've dealt with depression my entire life, even since I was a kid, but I never knew what it was. I never understood um, that there was something that wasn't normal or that everyone else didn't feel the same way I did. I didn't understand that for many, many years. And so it's freeing to understand it, to talk about it, and to understand what coping mechanisms help you to feel better. And everyone's different. Everyone has different things. I think music is a really big one that is definitely beneficial to me, but to a lot of other people that I talk to. And exercise is also really helpful in any form, whether it's just going for a walk or whether it's like, spending 2 hours in the gym. It's different for everyone. And we do have like a slide that has all these, I think it either has 50 or 100 like coping mechanism ideas. So people could look at it and say, hey, oh, I'm going to try that or this, or maybe that would work for me. And I've been meaning to get it on our website as like a freebie when you subscribe, and I just haven't done it yet, but I will soon. And if anybody wants that, you're welcome to reach out to me and ask, and I'll make sure you get it.
I like that you're into tech, like slide decks. I've never seen wait, slide share. I have seen the like the decks for slides. I think that's a pretty spiffy thing to have. Um, so are you really into tech? Because you're throwing out a lot of stuff. You got your lead magnets for your events, you got it for your website, and you got your slides going on. Uh,
Well, I did, the first virtual events I did on my own. I didn't have help. So I'm pretty pretty good with the tech side of things. And I have done some work for someone we probably both know on the tech side of events as a helper, or running the main stage. So I do have I definitely have knowledge of that. I would not say I'm an expert, but I definitely know how to do a lot of it. And then, I've set up different platforms. Like I'm using Active Campaign right now, and I just built my first landing pages in there and all this and the automation, and I just did it on my own. And I had to contact their support a couple times and ask some questions, but I'm pretty good at figuring things out. It doesn't mean I always do it the most efficient way or the most whatever, but I usually learn everything in my life the hard way. So it's always trial and error with me.
Sometimes I have trouble asking for help too. I love OneStream Live. We're using it right now, and they have this giant red bubble that says support, and I rarely ever push it. But when I do, it's like it was like nothing for them just to tell me the answer. Like
Yeah.
they tell me the answer. They tell me the answer, and sorry, my throat's very dry. They tell me the answer, and they give me a write up about it. So, and if I need more help, they'll come on a Zoom or a Google Meets or whatever, and they'll walk me through it. And it's like it was nothing for them to help me because that's what they're there for. Like,
Yeah.
it just took me a minute to push that button.
Yeah. Well, what was cool about Active Campaign is when you go to their support, they chat with you, and they'll even ask you to send them the link of the page that you're asking, and they will go there and say, oh, this is what's wrong. And it's like, it was super helpful, because I couldn't see what was wrong. I didn't have a clue, and they know the system, so they can look at it in 2 minutes, tell you, oh, you need to fix this. And I was like, I just spent 3 hours trying to figure this out. So their tech support is amazing.
Yeah, I don't know what's the hold up, and like that is literally their job to help us. And like I'm trying to figure it out for myself. You were trying to figure out for yourself.
Yeah, I don't like asking for help. It's funny because in my family, my husband is the one that will stop and ask for directions, not me.
I have no sense of direction either. I was telling you earlier, I have no sense of time, no sense of direction. Nope.
Well, I mean, with Google Maps, like, usually you can figure it out, but we live in a very, very remote area in Colorado. So like there's 3,000 people in our town, and it's a ski resort. So we have tons of vacationers and visitors, but it's a small place. And so sometimes especially when you're in the mountains, there's a lot of times I have a Jeep. So if we're going on dirt roads in the mountains, there is no service, first of all. So you can't get to Google Maps. So you better know where you're going when you leave, or you might be spending the night, on in the mountains somewhere. But it's I grew up in southern Louisiana, so I've been in Colorado for 20 years, and the mountains are my happy place for sure.
Well, that's where we're different. I'm not gonna go spend a night in the woods because I'm scared. Like I'm in the foothills of South Carolina, and that's my safe place.
Yeah.
Google doesn't always tell me the right answers, and sometimes it disappoints me. I have been on an interstate asking to go somewhere, and it took me in another direction, and I knew it was telling me the wrong thing. But it's Google, so I listened, and sure enough, I wasn't where I wanted to be.
Mm.
And sometimes I wonder, like Juneteenth just passed, and I asked my phone, could it tell me what was the first free state when Juneteenth happened? And it told me Pennsylvania. I'm like, I knew that wasn't right because Pennsylvania was already a free state before the Civil War ended. And I'm like, why is it purposely telling me wrong information? Now I'm wondering if Google is still an authority in right information.
Well, that's a much larger conversation, I think. But I definitely share your hesitation.
Yeah. So with your let's say your first summit, with the one you had 15 speakers, how did you know which 15 speakers? How did you know you wanted 15 speakers?
It didn't start out like I'm going to do a summit and I want 15 people. It started out me talking to people that I thought had a great story. It was kind of a similar experience as how the book came about. It was not planned. It was just something that came about. And I have very strong faith that things happen for a reason and that God puts the right people in my path. And I was having all these conversations with people I had met virtually. And, a lot of them had stories and related with what I was doing for the nonprofit. And so I said, would you be willing to talk about your story on a virtual event? And so basically I just gave everybody 20 minutes, turned out to be 15. And I did slides with their picture and name and kind of a short bio or what they were going to talk about. And I would play that with the music that they said is their favorite when they're in a down place. And so it had a lot to do with the music. It had a lot to do with their story. And we just spent, 6 or 7 hours listening to people talk. And then we ended up doing a 3-day event after that. And then we ended up doing another summit in August. And it was after that I follow a coach who had just put out an anthology book. And I had actually been part of 2 anthology books in 2018 and 19. And so I kind of understood, how that worked. But the 2 books I had been in, nobody met each other. We never had a call. We would share each other's posts on Facebook, but like we didn't know each other at all. And there was no marketing for us. There was no anything like that. So when we decided to do our book, I have a whole different, like we have Zoom calls without the authors, so we get to know each other. I do live interviews with each one of them, so we can come up with the videos that you'll see if you watch the launch event. And then I also do the marketing. So 3 weeks prior, I post about one author every single day for 3 weeks until we get to launch. And that way we've had so much exposure by the time the book comes out, and all the people involved are sharing it with their audiences. And it really worked. It was a really awesome event. It was 90 minutes. And I felt like I had to end it in 90 minutes because I had a plane to catch. But I think everybody would have stayed on there all day if we would have, decided to talk. So next time we're going to make it 2 hours at least. And we did have one breakout in the first one. I think everybody really enjoyed that and probably wanted more time. So that's
Wait. I'm sorry. You had a summit and it was only an hour?
No, the book launch.
Oh, okay.
The book launch. We had a book launch. And all of the authors were there, and all of my board members actually wrote a story in the first book. So everybody got to see one video where everybody was just saying what their story was about. Mm-hmm. And then they met the board members. We had a little conversation with the board. And then we had another video that was all the authors telling how was their experience in writing their story or being part of this project. And then we did a breakout and we talked about a few things that I always talk about at our events and stuff. And one of them is gratitude, which I think is super important in a journey with depression and anxiety and ideation, is, really focusing on things every day that you're thankful for. Because if you're in that headspace, it's hard to feel as bad if you're thinking of things that you're thankful for. So that's a big thing we talk about. And we have gratitude dice. Actually, it says gratitude starters, but it's 2 dice, and one of them is the alphabet and one is numbers. And so you roll them and you say, okay, well, there's a 3 and a F. So you got to think of 3 things starting with F that you're thankful for. So we play that game a lot in our events, because I think it's important to, think about what is good in your life.
Mm-hmm. I like that. That's something similar. When I did feel like I had depression, one of the things that I was in my research, I found that gratitude and when I talk to other people about it, I always ask. I start off with, "What's your favorite number?" So, Deanna, what's your favorite number?
12.
12. So that would be 3 because 1 plus 2 is 3. So, what are 3 things that you're grateful for just today? So that's what I would we would all talk about stuff that we're grateful for, but it will be based on what's your favorite number.
I love
And,
that.
and I try to keep it singular. So if you say something with 2 digits, I would add those 2 digits.
Okay. That's awesome. I like that. It's funny because when I played sports, my number was always 12. And then there was one year that 12 wasn't available on some team. And so my number was 3. So how ironic is that?
Yep. I really like that you got people together. You got them to network with each other, and then you got them to be on an event together. I'm like, that's 3 things in one. If you've interviewed all of those people before you got them together, that is something that you could put out for a promotion for your event. When you got all those people together at the same time, if that was recorded, that's something else you can put out. And then the event, if you chop that up, I mean, you have content upon days, upon months, upon years, if you wanted to.
Yeah.
Like,
well,
wow.
Unfortunately, I do not have the recordings for my 3-day event.
Oh, what
and
happened?
that was on me. I had the links to it. It was actually, we used Avio, and so I knew it was being recorded in Avio, and they sent me the links, and I thought I downloaded them and saved them, but I cannot find them. And I have an external hard drive that's corrupt that I can't get in. So I'm thinking they were probably on there, but yeah, I don't have it. Maybe it's a good thing because it was the first time I ever really spoke on camera. And it was the first time I ever told my story that, publicly, and I was super nervous. And so maybe I'm glad I don't have that on film.
Oh.
But it's been crazy because since then I've spoken on many virtual things, and I just spoke in person for the first time a couple weeks ago, which I was so nervous. Like I don't know why. I was just super nervous. But it was in a little town, another mountain town that I used to live in, and I was talking about suicide, and so I was just, I think, nervous about who was going to be there and if they knew me and all of that stuff. But it's once you talk about it, it's out there. You can find my story on the internet. You can Google me and read all kinds of things that I've shared that I kept hidden for decades, and it's freeing to not only not hide it anymore, but to talk about it freely and to try to help others know that if they can do the same thing, it really is healing. Like the first time I talked about this, I couldn't quit crying for months. And now it's my own internal self has healed from all of that. And now I can talk about it without being emotional. And that's huge because for so many years I couldn't talk about it at all. And my mom said to me in the last few months, she's like, I never understood why it was so hard for you to talk about things when I was younger. But she also had told me, you never cried when you were a kid. Even when I was 7 and my grandfather died, she's like, you didn't cry. And I was like, really? I don't remember that. And I said, but the reason I didn't want to talk about things is because I was trying not to cry.
That makes sense.
Yeah. So yeah.
Yes. I like that you find things and you make them fit well together, like comparing or having crying and not crying and talking about things and how they went together. It's like, I don't know, maybe you're really good at pattern matching. Oh.
Maybe. I don't know. I'll have to explore that.
Like it's just the little things that I see, like how you're really good at putting events together and finding the right people, like and matching people with their theme songs. Now I gotta know, how did you get the music rights to play that? Or is that the one where it disappeared?
Well, it was, it was like 20 people in a Zoom room and I played it, and we haven't done anything with the recordings yet. So I know I need to take care of the music licensing and the other events, like the book launch event where we had music. We had a DJ that was there that covered and stuff like that. So being in the event world for so long, I definitely know all the rules about music and follow the guidelines as I should. But the live day, that first live day, was just, I felt like it was a practice run and it was all people I knew and it wasn't aired anywhere. So
I still like that you pair people and you got their theme songs. Do you yourself have a theme song?
absolutely.
What is it?
I'll tell you the story quick, but when I decided, when my friend died in 2018 and I was being called to do something with this story, and then 2019 was a rough year for me in several ways. And there's this Christian song called Scars, and the band is called I Am They. And that song, I can't even tell you how many thousands of times I've listened to that song. And it really is, I had such bad anxiety in 2019. And I would listen to that song over and over and over and over and over. And I got on my 50th birthday, which was January of 2020, I had
You're
decided.
over 50? Wow.
I'm 52. And so I had decided I was going to start a nonprofit, and I was making this commitment to myself and to the memory of my friend. And I was like, I am going to do something crazy. And on my 50th birthday, I got a tattoo on my arm that says thankful for the scars. And I'm like, this is my reminder to, myself and what I've been through and what is coming out of what I've been through. But it's also my commitment to helping others.
Okay. That's really good.
Yeah.
Well, I know you have to go to another interview soon, but could you please tell people where they can find you?
Absolutely. So the foundation is realizefoundation.org, and you can find everything there. I also have a website that is deanabrownmitchell.com, and that is all about my coaching and consulting business called Genius and Sanity. And what that is we help entrepreneurs and business owners learn how to take better care of themselves and in turn help their business grow. And I have a really cool method I've come up with for all of that, but you can read about it at my website. And we also have a free challenge starting on Monday. If there's any entrepreneurs or business owners out there who need more sanity in their life, it's called the Get Your Sanity Back Challenge, and it starts Monday, June 27th.
Okay. What time is that? What time
It's going to be live in the Facebook group at 5 p.m. Mountain Time.
Okay.
And it's only going to be about 15 minutes of teaching a day. It's going to be recorded. You can go in the group and watch it at your leisure. And we do have a VIP option where we're going to have a Q&A Zoom call every day after that live. So for you, I think you're Eastern time, right? So that would
That's
be
right.
like 7 to 8 p.m. Eastern.
Okay. Another convenience for me. So yay. Well, Deanna, thank you for being here, sharing your coolness with us. I appreciate you. Um, uh, if you have time, I would love to have you back again. So,
Absolutely, yeah.
I want to say
I would
thank
love
you.
to. Thank you for having me. And I would come back anytime you want.
Hooray! Thanks. I
Yeah.
especially want to know more about that 50 slide deck when you get it together.
Oh, yeah. Well, yeah, we'll have to talk about that.
All right. Well, thank you, Deanna.
Yeah, have a wonderful day.